Jake's POV. Night fell once more, and the three of us thankfully left the hideout. I don't know how they felt, but finally being able to leave it made me feel like I could take a full breath again. Being stuck inside another cramped cave gave me flashbacks and anxiety all over again. To save Suma's energy, I summoned my rune bike, which was an experiment I'd been working on for a few months, but finally finished with plenty of help before we left. It was a bicycle frame, attached to rounded metal sheets that had runes engraved into it with mana-infused metal etchings. The runes were basically designed to create a simple hover effect by using wind. Other runes were added to help with balance, speed, and to eliminate the noise created by what were effectively gale force winds under it. It wasn't pretty, but it worked well enough. Actually, it looked like a pile of garbage, and without the runes to cancel out the sound, it would be as loud as a jet turbine. I tried to explain the runes to the army researchers who helped me build it, but they couldn't wrap their minds around the thought of sound being a wave in a sphere, or what it meant to cancel a shockwave, in the time we had left on base before our team took off. Under the cover of darkness, Suma, Lieutenant Datahu, and myself flew as quickly but quietly as we could to meet the contact in time. However, we made it. Barely. Our meeting location was a sandbar off the coast of a beach. "I don't see him," I said, still sitting on the bike. I took the dowjar off its mount and away from the runes, effectively turning the bike off. "He's already here," the lieutenant said. At that moment, what looked like a cloud of dust in the shape of a Nume suddenly appeared, then started to blow away, leaving a real Nume behind. It looked like dirt clods were stuck to his body, but as they fell off, they turned to dust. With each clod that fell, more of him became visible. "What the?" I said, surprised. "Sometimes I forget that you cannot sense mana," the lieutenant said. "Did you know he was there?" I asked Suma. "I knew something was there, but did not know it was a Nume hidden by an illusion spell. I assumed it was simply stagnant mana pulling together," Suma said, as surprised as I was. It was dark, so I could barely make anything out, but that was mostly due to the Nume's natural colour. At first, I thought he was black, but as my eyes adjusted to make more of him out, I saw his feathers were actually just a really dark shade of blue. So blue, he was nearly invisible in the dark. The only reason I could see him at all was the incredibly faint yellow sparkle he had, and his vibrant yellow eyes, both of which were weird. So far, with the exception of a few of my team members and some priests, every Nume I'd seen had brighter blue feathers, a white sparkle, and more human-like eyes. The Nume looked up at me and chirped like a bird. Admittedly, it caught me off guard. "What is he saying?" Suma asked. "Wait, you can't understand him either?" I asked. "But you're—" "Actually, never mind. Dumb question." "What?" Suma asked. "Well, I was going to ask why you can't understand one another if you're both Nume, but I realized that was dumb." "Can you understand all of your people?" Suma asked, confused. "No. That's why I realized it was dumb," I said. "If you two are finished," the lieutenant said, annoyed, "he is greeting us." "Can you ask him to share a few memories with me?" I asked Lieutenant Datahu, remembering how Suma helped me, my mum and Dr. Maxwell understand her by doing the same thing. "For what purpose?" she asked. "So I can understand him too." "It would take too long to explain," I said. She tilted her head in confusion for a moment, then chirped like a bird at the Nume, who hadn't stopped staring at me since he showed up. Hearing her chirp threw me off again, but I saw the Nume cut his eyes away from me for a moment towards her, then nod his head. A scene of a small village filled my mind. A few years ago, this probably would have been pretty amazing, but with everything that had happened lately, a sense of dread washed over me instead. The village was filled with Nume, all going about their daily lives, flying around, growing food and other things, until a large spell was cast, killing a great many of them. Things spiraled quickly from there. The emotions of the memory had already started, fear, anger, mourning, and a desire for revenge. As the memories progressed, some of the villagers began to fight back, this Nume among them. A little more time passed, and a voice began to come from the memories.
Our spells were weak, and most of us had no familiars. But we fought until death, ours or theirs. My comrades, my friends, my family, they all fell. But as time passed, we learned, we grew stronger. Now, for each of my comrades that dies, 7 soldiers of the Southern Union die with them. We are Russia. We endure.
All right, I can understand him, I said. Both the lieutenant and Sumer looked surprised, but the lieutenant a good bit more. What? Did you just learn his language? Lieutenant Datahu asked.
I had nearly forgotten you could do that, Sumer said.
As expected of a Vicky,
the Nume said, before spreading his wings and bowing. I groaned internally for a second, but let it pass.
Wait, you can speak our language too?
Sumer asked the Nume. No, I'm afraid I cannot speak the language of the mainland, the Nume said, standing up straight again. This confusing conversation went on for a few more minutes, until we realized that Sumer and I had both learned his language, or at the very least we could understand it. According to Lieutenant Datahu, who spoke both languages, all of us were speaking in our native tongues.
Can we focus?
The lieutenant asked, with an exasperated sigh.
Nock, we need you to take us to your resistance's main base. We want any information they might have that could help us complete our mission. We can, but first...
He turned to me and bowed again.
Great Vicky, I know not what my people did to earn the wrath of your kind, but I beg of you please forgive us. Spare my people from any more of the great purifier's punishment. Please.
The Nume Nock said. My stomach sank when he said great purifier because I knew exactly who he meant. Don't do that, I said, uncomfortable, and shaking my head. I don't even know what you're talking about.
A Vicky has descended upon us and brought with it Southern Union forces, and now another descends, and brings mainland forces. I do not know what these signs mean, but please spare us. We will...
Stop, just stop. The Vicky aren't descending. You didn't do anything. I'm not here for you, I said.
But the great purifier has sent...
The Chaos Dragon didn't send anything, and we don't have anything to do with him anyway, I snapped, sick of the thought of being compared to him. My mind flashed back to the memories I'd seen from him, but I shook them off. My people don't work for him, we never have. He's a monster, a violent psychotic monster. I would die before ever working with him.
This is heresy,
Nock yelled, clearly upset. It was the lieutenant who stepped in.
Sentinel, get some altitude and calm down. I will talk to him.
I plugged my Dow jar back into the mount and flew to the coast. Sumer went with me. About 20 minutes passed before the lieutenant came to talk with us.
What was that? She snapped.
I'm sorry,
You could have cost us the information. I understand that you have a history with the dragon, but personal feeling can never come before the mission. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, ma'am, I said, through gritted teeth.
Good. He has agreed to lead us to the resistance, but your words made a mark on him. You've shaken his beliefs, his faith in why he was fighting, to the core. If you do that while at their base, they may lose the will to fight. Should that happen, then they have already lost. In the future, just play along.
You want me to say I'm working with the dragon? I asked.
If that's what it takes, then yes. These people have nothing, but if you can give them even a little hope, then do it. Even if it means lying.